Hello. Hello, everybody. How's it going? If you can hear me, if you can see me, feel free to type in whatever chat you're on, whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube, whether it's LinkedIn, whatever it is. That way I know we did everything on our end and everything is working. Hey, Heather. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Hey, Chad. Thank you for being here as well. Thank you for commenting. Hey, Gary. Nice to see you here. Awesome. Cool, guys. Well, thank you. All right. So, I noticed we still have everybody. We have a bunch of people like in the StreamYard stream. So we have some in StreamYard. We have some on Facebook. We have some on YouTube. Yeah, we got some on LinkedIn. Awesome. Cool. Okay. Well, without further ado, then we're gonna go ahead and get started. We got a wonderful slide deck for you talking about mastering social media, and specifically mastering social media for a lot of the businesses that we work with. So we're gonna share some of our secrets. We're gonna share some of the things that we would do if we were in your position. So feel free to take notes, but it is all going to be recorded. So everything's recorded here. It's going to be posted up on our website. Under the resources tab on our website, we actually have the previous webinars that we've done. So in case you ever want to look at it in the past, you can definitely do so. That being said, let me add the slide deck here. All right. So today we're going to be talking about mastering social media and building that powerful online presence in social media. We'll start with a little bit of introduction. We'll talk about essential profile elements that you need. We'll talk about post creation, what type of posts to create, content collection, how you're going to collect your content for your posts, investing in research, the For You algorithm versus and getting a new audience. Previously, social media was so focused on like who your followers were. Now everything is just like, it doesn't matter who your followers are. Like, that's not what pops up in your feed anymore. It's always these For You algorithms. So an algorithm that's designed to show content that's geared towards you. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about personalization and customer experience, key metrics you need to track, how you know you're doing well with social media. And then we'll also just end it off with a Q&A session and conclusion. There's a couple other things in there that we'll talk about as well. So heading over to the next part to kind of introduce myself. So with myself, I'm a UCF alumni. I graduated, I believe, in 2019 from the University of Central Florida. I graduated in business. I'm a former home inspector at Honor Services at the same time. So I was an inspector starting in 2019, or actually before then. Maybe I was in college when I was doing inspections. It was when I was pretty much 18, I started doing home inspections. After that, during that time, I really dove into the world of marketing for my parents' business at Honor Services, and then eventually was hired on full-time at Waypoint Property Inspection for the marketing and sales position, this marketing and sales manager position. Was with them for about 2 years, and all the while, Wolfpack was growing as a little side hustle, and now been doing it for about, I want to say, 4 years, and we are continuously growing even still. So that being said, I'm going to also have Jenna, my wife, join. Hey, Jenna.
Hello.
And Jenna, take it away.
Hello, everyone. So glad that you're here with us today. My name is Jenna Shishilla, as my lovely husband introduced me. I am currently COO at Wolfpack Advising. Prior to coming on with Wolfpack Advising, my background is in education. So that being said, webinars and classes and kind of informing our clientele and getting that information out there is really important to me, kind of educating the community. We're not just in it to offer a service. We're really in it to educate and to move everyone forward. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started, talk about some social media. So where to start with social media? Why start with social media? So a lot of us may think that social media is just for seeing our friends, seeing some cool things that are out there, but really the younger population is using social media for search. So a lot of the older population, when you wanted to find something, you went to Google. Well, now that's shifting, and a lot of people are looking at social media. And here's why: a lot of people want to see products. They want to see people's faces. When you Google something, you're given a list of links, and you have to click through those links. You have to go through those links. You have to search and kind of try to find the information. When you go on social media, you see the product, you see the person that's offering you the service. So that's something to keep in mind when it comes to social media. There are so many strategies out there for digital marketing, but why choose social media when it's easily, you can find an ROI that's trackable somewhere else a lot more easily. So here are some reasons why we suggest that you invest in social media. There's minimal hard costs with social media. So opening up an Instagram account, a Facebook account, a LinkedIn account, that's going to be free for you. Ultimately, it's going to be the time invested and the research investment when it comes to social media. So there's not really a cost like there would be with PPC or with building a website. That might be a little bit more cost intense there. It is a less abrasive approach. So if you consider things like commercials or email outreach, some people might consider that to be kind of invasive, where you're actively reaching out to them and it might seem a little bit salesy. With social media, you can come off being more authentic and let that audience come to you. So something to consider with social media there. Multi-use content. So you might be thinking, oh my goodness, this is overwhelming. I have to make videos, I have to make social media posts for Instagram and LinkedIn, and there's so much to do, when really you can reuse content in multiple places. So you can take your blog posts that you're using for SEO purposes, repurpose them into a social media post for Instagram or LinkedIn, and kind of get double dipping there. Also with content on your website. So think about things that you're putting on your website. Take those photos or those service descriptions, put them on social media as well. We'll continue. Consider your search location. So like I said before, the new generation prefers visual information. So that's, like I was saying before, that you want to make sure that you're posting pictures and images, things like that. Last but not least, short attention span. So we know that the younger generation kind of has a hard time paying attention to things. So when you're scrolling through social media, you only need to capture your audience attention for a few seconds, a few minutes to kind of get your point across with social media, versus with something like a blog post or a website, something that's more long form. You need to capture your audience attention for a lot longer time to get the point across. Something to consider there. So some questions that I have for you. Let's pretend that you're going on a trip to Target and you have an address on your phone for Target and you put it in the Maps app. Your phone has all the information that you need, right? Well, not really. So your phone is going to ask permission to access your location, and it needs that information to know where you're starting at. So you need to know where you're starting at to get on the right road to that trip to Target. Same with social media. So I have some questions that I want you to ask yourself. When's the last time that you posted on your account? What day did you post? What time did you post? What hashtags did you use? When's the last time that you completed engagement outreach? So when's the last time that you liked or commented on your target audience posts? And what age and gender audience are you looking to approach? All things to consider. If you don't know the answers to those questions, or the person who is posting on your behalf does not, I really implore you to take some time and consider those and do some research there. Because if you are just coming up with a post and putting it out there and not having these things in mind, then you're just throwing a spaghetti at the wall and seeing if it's going to stick. So where are you currently? You might not know those answers to those questions, but you can certainly do some research to find those out. Invest in self-analysis, invest in research. Find somebody who knows better than you do to help you complete that research. So as you can see right here, we do offer at Wolfpack Advising a competitor and self-analysis report for social media, where you can purchase that information and have it right at your fingertips so you really know where you're starting at. This is something that you could do yourself as well. Don't feel like you have to pay somebody to do that for you, but just something to consider. Also consider looking at what your competitors are doing. Like I just said previously, use their trial and error to your advantage. So as you can see, here's an example of a social media competitor analysis that we did for a client. You can see where their company was and then where their competitors lie, as well as the breakdown for which platforms they're using. Don't make the same mistakes that they're making. And then you can also look at the ideas that they're doing and improve upon it. So don't copy it, because then you're going to be behind them and you're just going to be doing whatever they do, but kind of think, how can I enhance that, or how can I use that to my advantage? We're going to talk some more about data and data analysis with social media later on. So what is your goal? So that's always an important thing to look at is, where am I going? Am I having intent with what I'm doing? So based on your goal, you can select which platform or platforms are going to be best for you. I suggest you not try to tackle them all at once. Kind of consider what's my main focus going to be, and then kind of branch out from there. So if you are like a pest control company or a home inspection company and you're trying to connect with professionals, obviously you would want to use LinkedIn. In comparison, if you want to connect with like the consumer, then Instagram might be a better approach for you. If you're looking to expand and outreach outside of your current follower list using that For You algorithm that we mentioned earlier, you're going to want to do things like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, where people aren't necessarily only looking at what they're subscribed to or what they're following, but are also suggested new content all the time. If you're looking for something that is location driven, so around your office or your service area, consider Instagram. This is because Instagram has a feature where you can look at a map and search actual locations, and then kind of click on and see the posts that are around that location. If you haven't looked into that, I highly suggest that as well. And then if you're looking to connect with people via messages, so for example, if you're a home inspection agency and you're looking to reach out to real estate agents, consider a platform where people check their messages often. So LinkedIn, Instagram DMs, Facebook Messenger, things like that. And then, of course, check your demographics. Different platforms have different demographics. Obviously, younger groups of people are going to be on things like Instagram, but LinkedIn, they're probably not going to be on as much of the time. Also consider things like gender. So you might not know this, but actually Instagram is more female dominated and Facebook is more male dominated. So just something to consider when you're doing your research and planning out your content and which platforms you're going to use. So we know what we're trying to do. We know our goal, but what essential elements should you include in your profile to make sure that you can get there? Some prep work is definitely necessary before you start posting. In your home, obviously there are essential elements in your walls and your foundation that as a homeowner you might not see, but they need to be there. It's the same with your social media profiles. So one thing we suggest is making a brand kit. So obviously you probably have some existing marketing materials. You probably have some print materials. You might have a website already. Take those fonts, color codes, graphics, styles, things like that, and start incorporating them into your social media posts to kind of make everything look uniform there for you. Create a plan and some templates. So really, it can seem overwhelming having to make new posts every single week, but if you make some solid templates and some solid plans of the types of posts that you're going to create, you can reutilize them over and over again to kind of cut back on the amount of time that you have to spend each week on those posts. Ensure your settings are correct. So a lot of people that come to us for help with social media make the mistake of having their settings incorrect. Maybe they have their LinkedIn profile and it is technically supposed to be a personal profile, but they have it designed to look like a business profile. It's not going to do all the things that need to be done for you. Same with Meta, making sure that your Instagram for business and your Facebook page for business are tied together under Meta Business Suite so that you can have a seamless transition there. Just things like that are minor but will help you down the road. Engagement and outreach. So making sure that not on top of posting your regular posts that you're actively engaging with your target audience. So liking their content, viewing their stories, sharing their things, commenting on it. Letting them know that you are real people and behind this business and you're not just robotically trying to push out as many posts as possible. And engagement can be different on each platform, so that is something to consider. For example, on LinkedIn, your business profile cannot engage with other people, but your personal profile can, which is different than Instagram and Facebook. So just being really intentional with that engagement. For more information on making a brand kit and the essential elements to include in that, like I mentioned earlier, go ahead and scan this QR code for a link to our blog for some information and resources. Leave that up for just a second in case anybody is trying to scan. All right. Other things to include behind the scenes, navigational links to help conversions. So profiles are great. Social media profiles are great, but they're not going to do anything for your business if you can't get people to your website to get those consumers to convert to get your product or service. So ways that you can do that. Having Linktree and linking to your website or your blog or your scheduler. So that all people have to do is click on your profile, click on that one link, and they can choose from a multitude of options of where to get to navigate next. You can also connect your other social media profiles to this link. So for example, you can see this image here. We have our Facebook profile, our Instagram, TikTok, etc. They probably came to this link from one of those profiles, but now they can easily navigate to any of your other profiles to kind of dive a little bit deeper into your content. Also enabling purchase options that are not requiring somebody to talk to a person. So young people nowadays hate phone calls. They hate having to pick up the phone and interact with a human being. We are very antisocial this generation. So if you have a link that they can click where they can purchase something right then and there, or schedule right then and there without having to have that face-to-face contact. It's click, click, done. They don't have to worry about it. It can be done anytime, any way, anywhere. So we highly suggest using the Linktree links or a link in your bio to do that. Setting up your profiles for success. So we have a screenshot of an Instagram profile here. We're going to kind of talk about some of the elements on there. Making sure that in your posts and in your profiles, you have faces to relate to. So here you can see in this screenshot, I don't see anybody who works for this company. It looks all uniform. It looks great. But if I were this company, I would highly suggest in my post itself, at least if I'm not going to change my logo or my photos up there at the top, to make sure that I have some faces for my brand to relate to. So consider appealing to the stalker. So think about the last time you looked somebody up online, whether you're going on a first date, whether you were considering working with a client or meeting a client in person for the first time. Especially the younger generation prefer to be able to look up and research the people that they're talking to and working with ahead of time before that interaction. Hint that antisocial piece that I mentioned before, so just consider that. You want to make sure that you have employees or faces to relate to in your content. Making sure that you're using hashtags. So hashtags are so important because it gives people another way to find your content. So if I'm looking for a pest control operator in Tampa, I might not know of one off the top of my head, but I can search hashtag pest control Tampa and I'll see a list of posts that come up. If you don't have hashtags on your post, then you're likely not going to appear for those searches. So just something to consider there. Images and pictures from the field or from your office. It doesn't have to be fancy. If you're selling a product, you can take a picture of somebody packing up a product and sending it off. If you are a service provider, you can take a video or a picture of somebody completing that service. It doesn't have to be just a regular headshot, thumbs up, kind of awkward smiling, cheesing photo. It can be something as simple as that, of them already doing their job. Testimonials are great to post on social media. People want to hear the words of others. They don't want to hear your own words. Obviously, you're going to speak positively of yourself and your brand, but it's other people's words that really matter. Highlights. So a lot of people are unfamiliar with highlights. So that's these circles over here, all these red circles. Those are called highlights. So when you post a story, which appears here, you can see when the screenshot was captured, this company had a story because they have that little colored circle around their logo. That story is going to disappear in 24 hours. But that's kind of unfortunate because you made that content and now it's gone. Now with highlights, you can add those stories to these highlight reels and it will remain on your profile forever. So just something to consider there. Moving on to post creation. So now we kind of have our foundation laid. We've got our profile set up, our settings set up. We've got our goal in mind. Now let's move on to that post creation. So consistency is what transforms average into excellence. So I'm not going to tell you to wake up every day at 4 a.m. I'm not going to tell you to chug a green juice. We're not going to get that deep, but just a little bit of effort every single day into your content, or even every single week, is really going to make all the difference. So engaging with your target audience, maybe for 5-10 minutes each day, or at least 30 minutes a week, we suggest. Just a couple likes so that they know, wow, whenever I post something, this company is really looking. They're really there. It's not just a robot back there that's not really watching my things or not really interacting with me. Same with quick response to direct messages. So, like I said earlier, the younger generation really wants to be seen and heard, but not necessarily face to face. So if somebody shoots you a message on Instagram or on Facebook, make sure that you have somebody that has their notifications turned on so that they can get back to that within 24 hours. Think about an email, right? 24 to 48-hour response time. I would say with social media, try to speed that up and kind of shorten that time window even more if you can. Also making it a habit of collecting content for your posts. So it might seem kind of out of the way to start taking pictures of everything that you're doing, but if you have kind of a routine in place to where every time you go to a job, you take a photo or two, on your way out, and that becomes a routine, then now you have a whole slew of content to choose from when you go back to make your posts. Moving on, post-creation do's and don'ts. So I'm not going to go over all of these, or we will be here until next Tuesday. A couple ones that I will point out is, do ask questions and elicit conversation in your posts. The conversation's not going to start on its own necessarily all the time. So for example, if you say, it's National Selfie Day, drop a on the job selfie below, or, it's National Dog Day, drop a photo of your favorite pet below. That's going to start getting people engaged in your post and engaged in the conversation. And it's not going to feel like, wow, this is just a company and they want me to look at their product and they want me to buy it at the end. So really engaging in that conversation. Some things that we don't recommend. You have jargon in your business that you and your employees understand. Your target audience is not always going to understand that. They're not going to always understand the technical terms behind, what you're doing. So make sure that the words that you're using in your content and your descriptions are ones that your audience is going to relate to and understand. Also, another thing that we do not suggest that we see all the time is using QR codes. So QR codes kind of had this craze, recently where everyone's like, oh, that's, it's so easy to do. It takes me 2 seconds to make. It's so tech savvy. I want to do that. Well, just keep in mind that if you post on social media, you're posting on your phone. And a lot of times people are going to view that on their phone. Well, you need to scan your phone to scan that QR code. You need to use your camera on your phone to scan it. So how are they going to do both at the same time? So it's not likely that they're going to scan that QR code if they're looking at it on their phone. We suggest using QR codes for, some more print products, but not necessarily on social media. Try with social media just to stick with links like the Linktree where they could just tap it and follow. It's going to be a lot easier and you're going to get a lot more people following it that way. Moving on, content ideas and resources. So not all these content ideas are going to relate to everyone. So just considering that. But like I said earlier, on the job photos, things that are happening in your community nearby your office or in your industry, about your team members. So doing team member highlights, again, relating to having those people to relate to on your profile. Memes, funny never goes out of style as long as the funny is understandable. Like I said, try to refrain from using jargon too heavily that might not be easily understood. Here are some great resources to use. Canva is an awesome one. They have a free version and a paid version if you're looking for some more intense features. CapCut is great for videos. That is free as well. Capwing is a paid service that you can use for video templates as well. So don't feel like you have to start from scratch when it comes to your content. There are a lot of template resources out there to get you started. Because not all of us are, super fluent in graphic design and things like that. And you don't have to be to make your own social media posts. Also consider using things like ChatGPT before you move on to write your content for you, to write your captions. If you're having a hard time coming up with post ideas or caption ideas, ChatGPT or AI is a great resource to use there. Moving on, we're going to think about investing in research. So, like I said earlier, social media does not have a lot of hard costs associated with building the profile, making the posts. You can do that pretty easily as long as you have the time to invest for free. However, there is something to consider. A lot of companies can do social media for you, and part of the cost associated with that is the labor and time that it takes to research into your posts. So we're going to talk about some of that research that either you should be doing or having somebody do on your behalf. So here I have an example of some algorithm research that we did, and we published a blog post not too long ago because Instagram actually changed their algorithm this year. They're trying to keep up with trends and keep it fresh and moving, so they changed their algorithm. So what does the algorithm mean? The algorithm is what the app responds to. So what content gets pushed out to more people and what content is kind of kept hidden, because there are so many people in our world posting daily. Not everything is going to get shown and get a lot of views. So here's an example of using Instagram feed posts. So there's a separate algorithm for Instagram feed posts than there is for, say, Instagram Reels or stories, things like that. So there are some intricate details to keep in mind when it comes to when you do your Instagram feed posts. According to Instagram, they are looking at content, origin, user activity, and interaction history when it comes to pushing feed posts on the recommended page. So making sure that you're considering all of those. Some must-do tips for feed posts for 2023, according to Instagram's announcement. Post stories between feed posts. So like I said, those 24-hour little story snippets, when you're not posting to feed, those are the square photos that you scroll through. When you're not posting those on other days, then you're going to want to post stories to keep your audience interacting with your profile. Also considering the sizing and the editing of your photos. As you can see right here, there are some sizing requirements that do better than others. So just keeping those in mind. Hashtags, I mentioned hashtags and explained those earlier. So there's a target number that you're going to want on Instagram. That's going to be 5. And this is ever changing. This information was updated this year by Instagram. They could decide next week that they're going to change their algorithm, and we're going to have to research all over again. So making sure that you are routinely checking in and seeing, what blog posts is Instagram posting, what are they pushing out. The algorithms are going to be different for other platforms as well. So there's a lot to research. There's a big time investment here. Keyword research. So as you can see here, I have a screenshot from TikTok of a video that we were posting. And you can see here, I was trying to decide what hashtag to use. And I don't want to use too many hashtags. I'm not going to use 20 because that's going to do me more harm than good. But you can see here, I was posting a real estate video. So I typed in real estate, hashtag real estate, and I have tons of real estate hashtag choices to select from. So I can see here for free, by just taking a few minutes, the counts of the views that people are searching and getting shown this content. So of course, I'm going to pick real estate above real estate agent or real estate investor because that has 32.1 billion views. So I'm widening up my audience a little bit. Am I going to get to have my video in front of that many people? No, but it gives the algorithm a better chance of pushing it to people who are wanting that content right now. So again, like I said earlier, it doesn't take a lot of money to do social media, but if you're going to pay someone to do it, it's because you're paying for that research and that time investment to making sure that the content that you're putting out is going to be effective. Consider SEO and keyword research, search volume that way for Google. It's kind of moving down that road for social media as well with hashtags and things like this. Content collection. So, I want to post photos, but what do I post? Where do I post it? Things like that. Tips for maximizing content collection. So we've heard from quite a few people, well, I want to post photos, but, I have to get my employees to take the photos for me, or, I have to take the time to post them myself. So here are some ideas of ways to do that. Creating a competition with your employees. We've had a couple clients of ours say, well, during our team meeting, I said, anybody who can get me a photo or a video for social media and we use it, we'll put your name in a drawing and we'll pull a name out of the hat and you get a prize at our next team meeting, or we'll highlight you yourself on social media. So really getting your employees involved as well and giving them some ownership in the social media posts, even if they're not the ones producing them. create a routine out of content collection. So really thinking about if I can do it once a day or once a week or once each job or something along those lines, then it becomes second nature to you and you'll have tons of content to choose from if you do have a drought season in collecting content. It's always better to have too much off to the side and have to use it later than not enough and kind of be scrambling to find something to post. Pull images that are already being taken from reports. So if you're like a home inspector, you take photos during your job. So you can use those and kind of double dip there and take advantage of that as well. Creating a competition online. So we have had clients as well say, this is a photo. If you can tell me what's wrong with this photo and comment on it, then the first person to do so gets a gift card or gets a shout out. So that also kind of creates that conversation like we were talking about earlier, gets people involved, gets them invested, and gets those engagement metrics up. Also, so if you check out the screenshot right here, these are actually from my personal TikTok account. And these are two places in the nearby community that I visited and I really enjoyed. So I made a personal TikTok about them. Well, they blew up and got a lot of views and a lot of saves. So these companies, these two locations are going to benefit from that, right? They're getting their brand out there. They didn't have to pay me for it. It just happened organically. So both of these companies actually reached out to me and said, hey, can I have your permission to repost this video on our own personal work platform? So they did that, and now they have tons of views and tons of new people who are interacting with their content. I had people commenting, where is this place? How much is it? So if you see that you have people who are doing that for your business, giving you a shout out, make sure that you ask first because you have to ask to repost their content and then go ahead and repurpose it. That will make them feel seen and heard, and that will make them feel happy. And, again, people like to hear it from the consumer rather than just themselves or yourself, I should say. For you algorithm and new audience members. So why video marketing? So people are, thinking that video marketing is the next craze, and I will tell you why. It's not the video itself, it's actually the algorithm. So as you can see right here in this screenshot, this account is a client of ours, and they only had 13 subscribers when the screenshot was taken. Well, these last 3 videos that they had multiple thousands of views. So 5.1 thousand views, 2.2 thousand views, 3.5 thousand views with only 13 subscribers. So that is why video marketing, because the For You algorithm is going to push that content outside of your regular subscribers and kind of widen your horizons. So it's not as new as many people might think. There's actually something called Vine and Musical.ly that took place in the early 2000s and 2010s. TikTok actually acquired Musical.ly, so the algorithm actually is older than it seems. So you can look back at Musical.ly and Vine and do some research there into those algorithms and kind of know, how TikTok's algorithm developed and shifted, things like that. The algorithm suggests to its users content based on hashtags, like I said earlier, but also sounds, watch time, and clicks. So I'm sure you have a friend or family member who's been scrolling through the For You algorithm on TikTok or on Instagram Reels, and you might hear the same sound come from their phone 5 or 10 times in that hour. Well, that's because the algorithm is seeing that they're spending more time on that video. So they're recommending other videos with that same sound because they can tell that that person likes it. So if you're looking at and doing research into sounds that are trending on TikTok or Instagram Reels and using those yourself, that's going to work to your advantage as well. Content can be repurposed. So you can put the same content on Instagram Reels as you are on YouTube Shorts or TikTok. The hashtags might want to be shifted a little bit because, the viewer count's going to be different and the audience is going to be slightly different, but just something to consider there as well. There are free and available templates for the short form videos. So on like Capwing and CapCut, we have here something from The Office, something from the Barbie movie here. So you can find templates that have those for you to use and just put your images and texts in front of or behind it. Also consider integrating pop culture and current events. So this reel right here in the middle got so many views, 5.1 thousand, because I posted it around the time when the Barbie movie came out and it was trending on social media. So, people were searching for Barbie, people were spending time watching Barbie, and it was being suggested again by the algorithm. So that's part of the reason that content got so many views, was because we related it to something that's happening in pop culture or a current event that people are already spending time looking for. So just something to consider there when you are, thinking, should I do video marketing? Yes or no. We say yes, but you have to do what works best for you. Some more channel analytics for video marketing, just some things to consider. So this is that same account that only had 13 subscribers. In that month, they had over 11,000 views, and people spent 31.9 hours watching their content. So really getting your brand out there and showing it to people who, you might not have them already subscribed to your platform. Also consider this is just one platform, and there are multiple video platforms out there. So if you can get 11,000 views on this platform, 5,000 views on another, those really add up over time and can do you a lot of good there. Beyond the app. So we're going to keep chugging along. Let me check time here. All right, so you can connect your social media to other areas of marketing. It is so important not to let social media stand alone. It is just one piece of the growth roadmap in your business, and trying to get and capture those leads. So some ways that you can attach social media to some other areas of your business and marketing. Link to your website and your blog posts, like we mentioned earlier. That can help with your SEO, getting more people to view and click on those blogs. Also interacting with target audience members. So if you have, a life cycle sort of system happening where you have people that work with you multiple times, you can reach out to them on social media and say, hey, I noticed that you worked with us or you purchased our product, for the 5th time. Thank you so much for doing that. We see you, we appreciate you. Sending them a little DM that way. Or, giving them their own post. Maybe you do a shout out and say, these people purchased from us for the 10th time this month. Thank you so much to them, and kind of give them a little bit of a shout out that way. Showcasing and promoting in-person events. So consider if you have a get together, you have an event, a launch party, maybe you're a makeup brand and you launch a new product and you have a whole bunch of people show up, take photos of that and showcase that and promote that. So maybe more people will come to the next one. Personalization and customer experience. So some underrated strategies that we suggest that we see some people do, we see that people could capitalize on more. Not all posts should be product or service related. As you can see right here, we have a screenshot of this training company, and this video got 48.5 thousand likes. So we know it got even more views. Asking our non-strict boss hypothetical questions. So this was actually a trend that emerged within the last month or so, and people were asking their boss questions to see what their responses would be and if it were funny or not. So because this was a trend and a lot of people were doing it, it was garnering tons and tons of views. And this video popped up for me. Would I ever probably search for street cop training? Probably not, but now I'm introduced to them and the people behind their brand, and kind of have a connection to them from this video now when I would not before. Avoid sales pitches. So with a video, don't just sit behind a camera and talk about why your product is great. Again, people want to hear it from the consumer. They don't want to hear it from you. And that video is probably going to have people swiping away very quickly and not be too interested in it. So just something to avoid there. Make sure that you're showing your face with your videos, as well as with those carousel posts that we talked about earlier. People want to see you or your employees. So make that a point in your videos, as well as just those feed posts. Quick response to DMs. This also includes comments. So like I said before, you can see here in the image, somebody commented. That comment got 2,200 views, but then the creator responded to that comment. So making sure that those people who are watching your content, interacting with it, know that you see them and that you appreciate them, and that you're willing to engage in the conversation with them as well. Mitigate negative interactions. Responding to those comments can also be beneficial. Think about Google reviews. If you get a positive or negative Google review on your Google My Business profile, you're going to want to answer it. You're going to want to talk to them. Same with comments on social media. If you see that people are, talking negatively about your brand or about something that you've posted, making sure that you have your notifications on and are viewing what people are commenting can kind of help you jump in the conversation, kind of control the narrative. Be aware through social listening of what's happening. And then responding to tagged posts. So you might have, a company that you work with or a previous consumer client of yours post something about your product and tag you in it, making sure that you're making use of that content as well, reposting it to your personal profile, things like that. Moving on to some even more underrated strategies. So there are groups that you might not know of. So you might be familiar with communities on things like Reddit, Twitter, Facebook groups, probably is one that most people know of. There are also these sorts of communities forming on these video sites. So if you haven't already heard of, there's a group called Book Talk. So there were so many women and men too posting about books that they were reading and the characters and making art for these characters and talking about, how they felt about the book and alternative endings. That, this Book Talk hashtag went so viral that now there's a Book Talk community. There's merch for this community. Just looking at these videos, 247.2 thousand likes on this one video that you could see right up here at the top. So making use of some of those communities. Also finding somebody that knows better than you do to learn from. So looking at some videos that have already gone viral, taking those strategies and kind of seeing how you can add to them. Also, we consider spending time on the platform personally. So you might not love TikTok or YouTube Reels or Instagram, but if you spend time scrolling, you're going to notice patterns, you're going to notice trends, and it's going to make you more aware of how to start implementing them in your business. Influencer marketing. So influencer marketing was a huge craze a little while back, a couple years ago. Now it's kind of died a little bit. And here's why. People don't necessarily trust those voices who have a ton of followers and that they can tell are paid to voice their opinions about products. Now more of influencer marketing is going towards the smaller creators. So if you can see right here, there is a screenshot of a video of somebody who was a paid partnership. So a company paid them, and they only have, about a couple dozen likes here. And that's okay, because that's going to come off as more realistic than somebody like Kim Kardashian or Justin Bieber, who we know is just doing it and they're getting paid tons of money and they might not actually use the product in their everyday life. And these 49 people who like this video, that's going to go on their algorithm and maybe share to some of their followers. So just considering that, if you are considering going down the influencer marketing train, maybe consider picking some smaller influencers and making sure that if you are paying for promotion, that you are disclosing that, because there are increased regulations on that now as it becomes much more popular. So don't get caught in a pickle by paying somebody and they don't disclose on your behalf. So as promised earlier, we're going to look at some key metrics that you should be tracking for your social media. So before you post, key metrics to track are who is online and when. This data is available inside your profile settings for free. So you don't have to pay for this data to know when your consumers, your audience is online. And that could be time and that could be day of the week. So all of this information, your audience's gender, general location. So I'm talking about like country. I'm not talking about like their address. Generalities, of that sort can definitely be found for free on those platforms if you just take the time to research it. And then of course you can plan your posts for those timeframes where you can see there are some peaks where more people are online. KPIs, so how to know if your social media is being, effective, if it's working for you. ROI can be difficult to find with social media. It is not as cut and dry as it might be with, a paid per click advertising campaign, things like that, but that is okay. Consider looking at post engagement. So are people interacting with your post? Are they watching it? Are they liking it, commenting on it, sharing it, that sort of thing? Also consider your audience volume and reach. So you want to make sure that you are actively gaining followers, even if it's just a handful week over week or month over month. You want to make sure that people are not unfollowing, that you are gaining traction with your site or with your profiles, I should say. Again, consistent increase month over month. So you want a steady growth. You might get some spikes, as you can see here on this graphic. This company had a post that did very well and spiked, and then there was a drop there. That is normal. You are going to get some spikes, some posts that do extremely well every now and again. Please, please, please do not expect every post to go viral. That is just not something that is feasible. It's not something that's going to happen. Even if you spend all the time in the world planning out your content, there is just going to be some things that happen to work better than others. So that is just something to think about there. You can use Meta Business Suite for Facebook and Instagram to get some of these metrics. You can also look into outside reporting softwares and scheduling softwares. So this data is in there for you already. What is engagement? So you can see these colored squares at the bottom. Engagement is broken down into likes, shares, comments, and then other. So those are all ways that people can engage with your profile. You might have no shares one month. You might have something that somebody thought was hilarious and wanted to share over and over again. So engagement is not just likes. It can be views. It can be a couple different avenues there. How can page visits, lead to conversions? So like I said earlier, it is hard to track ROI with social media, but if you can get people to travel from your post to your page or profile, and then click on that link in your bio that we talked about earlier to navigate to your website, that is a great start. So if you are seeing an increase in page visits, that means that people were so interested in the content that you posted that they traveled to your profile to see more of it. And that is a good sign. That can lead people to your website. Future of social media. So social media is always going to be changing. You might watch this webinar and there could be things that change in an hour from now, things that could change a week from now. It's constantly evolving. So don't feel like you have your strategy nailed down because, being complacent is what's going to get you left behind. So constantly doing more research, constantly staying up to date is going to be the very best thing for you. Research is key. So investing in that research, find somebody who, does social media more regularly or might be a little bit more knowledgeable than you to learn from. AI integrations. So making sure that you're making use of some of those new AI tools for your captions, for your hashtags, things like that. Moving on from social media as we wrap up, we do have something to celebrate. So we had a giveaway that we were doing for our Wolfpack Summit. It is our event that is happening in January for the second time, and we were giving away 2 free tickets to Wolfpack Summit. So we would like to congratulate Mr. James Crawford from Next Level Home Inspections. He is going to be joining us free of charge at Wolfpack Summit this January. So we are having another drawing for 2 more free tickets, December 7th on that webinar in December. So if you are interested in doing that, go ahead and visit wolfpacksummit.com and sign up for that. It is free to enter. You do not have to be a Wolfpack customer. All you have to do is follow us on a couple platforms and fill out a quick little form on our website, and then you will be entered to win. So congratulations, James. We're going to now move on to Q&A. So as we wrap up, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop those in the comments, and we will get to them as we talk about some of our next slides to close us out. Any questions, go ahead and drop those in the comments. To conclude, social media can be very overwhelming. It can be scary. There can be a lot going on there. Consider checking out Wolfpack Advising's blog. We have a whole social media section, free resources. We look into algorithms, we look into resources, we look into post ideas. We have all sorts of things happening there. So go ahead and check that out. Wolfpackadvising.com/blog. Also, consider staying up to date by subscribing to our newsletter. We share our blogs there as well as other helpful information that we find. You can scan this QR code with your phone. Hopefully, you're watching this on a computer. Scan this QR code to opt into our emails there and stay up to date. Thank you, Jamie, for joining us. Also, go ahead and check out some of our future webinars that we have coming up next in October. We have financial fitness. We have a guest speaker, RTC accounting. We have another webinar on SEO in October as well. We have email marketing happening in November. And then in December 7th, we're going to have that other free ticket winner being announced. We have Entrepreneur Mindset in December. And then also we have sales that we're talking about in December as well. And then that brings us to our summit event that we're leading up to. Thank you so much, Heather, for joining us. So that is all that we have for today. If you have any questions, oh, I see a question. Marie says, what's a good resource to track the algorithm? For example, how many hashtags should I use on Instagram? Great question, Marie. So that's actually going to be research that you're going to have to do. A lot of companies like Instagram or Facebook will put out blog posts, and that's a good way to look. I know for the Instagram blog that we wrote, we actually sourced information from their blog. So you don't want to necessarily take what people are saying about the algorithm at face value. If you can find information that comes directly from Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, that's going to be your best place to start. We just take what they say and make it more digestible and more understandable. So like I said earlier, for the number of hashtags, that's going to be 5 right now for Instagram for those feed posts. I hope that answers your questions. Oh yeah, and just like our behind the scenes person commented, we try to share those updates to the algorithm as we can, as we see that stuff come through. So if you sign up for our newsletter, those will be pushed out through our blogs. When we try to be on top of that as we can. Do you have insights on how to find other like-minded accounts to engage with and increase engagement on my business account? That's a good question. So consider who else would have a similar target audience to yourself, but not in direct competition. So for instance, if you are serving one area, and you can find somebody else who does the same thing as you, but in a different service area, that might be something to consider, because you might be able to collaborate and do, say, like a webinar together or post something together. You're not competing against each other, but you have like-minded audiences that might be able to support each other. That question was from Samantha. So thank you, Samantha, for dropping that question. I hope that helps. Do we have any other questions? Well, thank you so much, everyone, for attending. I'm going to let Aaron pop back in, and we'll hang around for a couple minutes in case there are some other questions. But have a great day, everyone. This will be recorded and reposted as well on our website and our social media platforms, in case you missed it and came late or wanted to check back in on that information. Marie said, any change you can show the QR code again for the email list? Yes, I can do that, Marie. Give me 1 second and I'll go back for you. Right there. That is to opt into our emails. And then all the blogs are also available for free on our website. Thank you, Samantha. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you, Jenna. I'm going to take it over. So I'm going to put you backstage, Jenna. All right. Well, awesome information. Tons of information that we had there. I hope everybody enjoyed it. While I still have everybody here, I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about Summit in case you're not familiar. This webinar series is kind of like free information that we're giving out that kind of gives you a taste as to what we're going to talk about at Summit. So the information at Summit is going to be a lot more organized. It's going to be a little bit more condensed as well, a lot more valuable information there. But we still are giving away this free information during our webinars, and we're happy to do so. So that being said, I wanted to share my screen just for a moment to talk about Summit. So let me go ahead and do that. So if you're not familiar with Summit at all, Wolfpack Summit is a home inspection and pest control conference. There's other attendees as well, but mainly the education that's there is going to be focused on home inspection companies as well as pest control companies. I want to talk about some of the agenda and everything. So we do have tons of different exhibitors that are attending, people that you could check out. Great speakers, a great speaker lineup. But as far as the actual education, where it's being hosted in Tampa, Florida, basically right near the Tampa airport. It's across the street from the Tampa airport. If I go to our agenda, we have an agenda for basically 4 days. The first 3 days are going to be our business and marketing classes. That last Saturday are going to be like CEU, so credits for the states, usually going to be Florida State. And then just regular like training technical classes, which I can get into. So on Wednesday, myself, Austin Heinz, as well as Jenna, we're going to be talking about how to use AI in your business to maximize productivity and create profits. We have a description coming on that soon. But with Wolfpack Advising, we've been utilizing AI almost every single day within our business. I can't tell you how much I've used it. So we're going to give away basically all the resources, all the tools, and how we use it, how other people are using it as well in business during Summit as well. We also are going to have Stockton from Inspector Pro Insurance. He's going to talk about sales. So Stockton works directly just in sales, selling insurance, and he's going to give away his insights for how he conducts sales. This is going to be super important because as small business owners or even as marketers, often we need to know and have the skill set for sales. Wolfpack is going to be having some private advising sessions. If you do want to join in, you can register ahead of time. They're not yet open as far as registration, but it is available. Kolbe assessments to train your team with Sherry Bachman. So Sherry Bachman is a coach, and she is a coach for pest control companies. She's going to be talking about how she utilizes Kolbe assessments to train team members, to interact with your team members. It's a really interesting class. It's basically creating like a profile of how somebody learns, how somebody reacts, and then how you can use that as a manager within your business. We have some other general sessions that are up and coming. And then finally, we're ending Wednesday with Inspecting Tomorrow. So what's next for the home inspection industry? And that's going to be a panel discussion. We're going to have Susan Bentley, Harmony Brown, Mark Hummel, and even more to come. And it's going to be led by yours truly, myself. Isn't that amazing? All right. So Thursday, Austin, myself, and Jenna are also talking on the business growth roadmap to success. So we have a business growth roadmap that Jenna shared on her slideshow. We're going to go a little bit more into detail about that during this particular presentation. Business growth with candid social media. If you have not followed Jasmine Pest Pro on social media, you absolutely need to. Jasmine has her own business doing residential and commercial pest control. That's the name of the business. And she's going to be flying in, basically talking about and giving away all of her secrets to how she does social media for her business. If you know her at all, she's truly amazing on social media. She posts almost every single day. And from what I understand with Jasmine, it's the main source for her business. So perfect for all of you guys attending. You definitely want to take some notes during her class there. Will Colton with Inspector Pro Insurance is also talking on the next day on your inspection contract and how it affects disputes. Then we have Mark Hummel talking on how to hire and build a winning team. Mark Hummel is from IEB. We're doing some more private advising sessions if you want to or are interested in that. Then we also have Bob Williamson from Simtane Associates on how and when to buy/sell a pest control business. So if you're looking to get into pest control, if you're looking to get out of pest control, this is how and why and when you should buy and sell a pest control business. A lot of home inspection companies are looking at pest control just because it's a really great opportunity to get some reoccurring revenue in your business, as well as you have the home inspection piece, you have all the leads, you just need to feed it over into pest control to get some reoccurring revenue and never have to basically worry about continuously selling inspections. We're also going to be talking about how to do your own SEO, and that's going to be from myself, more private advising sessions, but then segueing over to Friday, Friday, we have Joe Jonovich. Joe Jonovich is talking about WDO inspections. There's going to be a class portion as well as an outside portion, or basically a field portion, where you're actually inspecting a house with the group. Okay, so I think last time we had probably 10 to 20 people join on that class. So all those people got to go to a building, inspect it, do a WDO inspection led by Joe Jonovich. So that's taking place throughout the entire day. All while at the event, at the conference itself, we're also having additional classes such as Unlocking the Secrets of Success, What Separates Thriving Companies from Struggling Ones. I'm so excited for this panel. I'm honestly so excited because IEB and Inspection Go, two huge coaching companies in the inspection industry, are going to be talking on a panel, and I'm going to be basically grilling them with the questions. How do you know a company is going to be successful, and those that come into your groups and are going to be successful versus those that struggle, versus those that maybe don't push anywhere, don't get anywhere, don't reach their goals? So I'm really excited about this particular class as well. Then we finally have more classes on mastering sales, networking, and affiliate marketing with Secure 24 is on our list. More general sessions are coming. We're still updating our agenda here. And then finally, that's the end of that. For Saturday, the technical classes, we're going to have manufactured home certifications, as well as wind mitigation inspection classes. And then finally, later in the afternoon is 4-point inspection classes. All while, during the day on Saturday, the Wolfpack team is talking about maximizing the value from your CRM. We're going to do a CRM workshop. So if you're not familiar with our CRM, it's a huge marketing automation piece with email, omni-channel marketing, basically. So email, text message, social media, postcards, you name it, you can connect it, all of those things. We're going to be talking about how to maximize the value out of that. So that is going to be something you definitely want to attend if you're looking into maximizing the value with your marketing automation system. Even if you're not using our CRM, we're glad to help you and talk about how you can utilize it with other stuff as well. So that is the Wolfpack Summit. Feel free to go to wolfpacksummit.com to check it out. Other than that, guys, I really appreciate you all being here during this live webinar. We're going to have it shared and posted once it's all recorded and everything on our website under the resources tab. But thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. Have a good one.